here.
We are making one of my top 3 favorite things to eat of all time. Like this piece fell off.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do with it.
No, wait until the end.
As you've been talking, I have eaten nearly an entire skull, and I have no apologies to give.
Good is not the word, friends, as I shove a third bite of this into my face.
That right there.
Right here.
Yeah, Oh, look at it drip.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to I'll Bring Dessert. My name is Shani and today I have one of my favorite food people on the planet with me. I am so very excited to introduce you all to today's guest, who has a tremendous recipe. Her name is Natasha Bull. And for those of you who are familiar with her completely outstanding food blog, Salt and Lavender, this is the beauty and brains behind that blog. So today I want to say a great big welcome to you, Natasha. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I don't usually do like on camera stuff. So when you approached me to do this, I was a little bit hesitant, but excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here, and thank you so much for saying yes. I'm actually pretty gun shy when it comes to being on camera sometimes, so I totally get where you're coming from, and I appreciate that you were willing to do this anyway. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And from the bottom of our viewers' hearts, thank you so much. So Natasha, first of all, can you tell me what we're making today?
So today we are making my creamy one-pot Italian sausage gnocchi. And I believe you are subbing the Italian sausage with turkey sausage.
Yes.
Which is totally fine. Basically, it's an easy weeknight dinner. You can have it on your table in about half an hour. And it's a reader favorite and one of my personal favorites.
Why is it one of your personal favorites?
Oh, geez. Anything like with cream and Italian sausage, it's kind of my kryptonite. And like pillowy gnocchi, it melts in your mouth. It is just so comforting. And I can just like stand over the stove and like spoon it in my mouth. So I make it as a treat occasionally.
Really? Oh, I feel like I'm going to be making this all the time. Number one, I looked at the ingredients, and the ingredients are like, there aren't many ingredients, but they're like power-packed ingredients. And you're right, I am subbing the pork sausage for turkey sausage. I personally don't eat pork sausage. The rest of my family does. So in order for me to eat it and like gorge myself on it, because frankly, that's probably what I'm going to do, I had to sub the sausage. No big deal. But there aren't, like I said, there aren't very many ingredients, but they're like power-packed ingredients. The smell of basil is like just permeating my kitchen right now. And it's telling me that we need to go ahead and get started with this recipe. So where do I start, Natasha?
So first thing, since you're using turkey sausage, and that has less, I guess, fat in it, add a little bit, like about a tablespoon or so of olive oil into your...
Okay. This
and that
olive
should be
oil is
on medium
literally
high.
At the end.
At a medium high heat.
Medium high. So I'll turn it up just a bit. And while I'm waiting for the olive oil to kind of come up a bit, tell me, like, what got you interested in cooking? Right? Because not everybody is anymore.
Yeah, so my mom, she always made food from scratch. Like when we grew up, it was like to have something like, I don't know, like Hamburger Helper or like Kool-Aid or something, that would be like a novelty at a friend's house.
Right.
Like my mom made everything from scratch. So I guess it was just kind of a natural progression. Like I spent time with her in the kitchen, like the kitchen's the heart of the home, so I just kind of like, that's how I bonded with my mom, like spending time with her. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess like it's funny because my sister, she didn't get into cooking at all, yet we had like the same childhood, right?
Right.
So yeah, I just kind of, I guess, got interested watching her. And since I love food so much, for me, it was just natural to kind of learn how to cook. And then when I moved out on my own after I finished university, I'm like, I guess I have to feed myself. So learn how to cook.
All right, so our oil is nice and hot. What's going in first?
So let's add in the sausage and the onion at the same time.
Oh, okay. I love that. At the same time.
I do that sometimes with sausage and onion because like they get cooked and it saves you
Yeah.
time, right? So why not?
All right, let's go. All righty. Oh, I love the smell and the sound of onions hitting the pan.
Oh, I know.
And I removed the casing from the sausage.
Yes.
Because we are going to like mash it up, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And just like break it up with your spoon as you go along. My instructions say 7 to 10 minutes, but basically until it's like lightly brown. I think turkey sausage, you may not get it quite as browned as like a pork sausage, but it'll be good. Just kind of till it gets, mostly cooked through there.
All right. So I'm just like breaking the sausage up. It already smells amazing in here. I have to say, putting the onions and the sausage at the same time is genius. I have never, ever done that before. And so that's such a good idea because onions don't always have to be caramelized, right? They don't always have to be like completely brown on the bottom of the pan. Sometimes they just need to be cooked until they're like translucent. And that's what I'm getting here. Is that what you meant with the recipe?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'd say like Italian sausage, sometimes I go like really hard with it. Like I'll cook it until it's like very browned and then the onions get like very browned.
Yeah.
But yeah, this recipe basically it works to do that. It works to do what you're doing. As long as they're softened, right? Like the idea is, you get the flavors, they don't have to be caramelized. And it's just quick and easy. You come home after a busy day at work, your kids want some dinner, and it's like, okay, let's just put it in the pot at the same time, and dinner's going to be ready faster, and it'll still taste delicious.
Right, and I think that's something you do so beautifully on your blog. You've mastered that. Like you have recipes that are showstoppers, right? You have recipes that you can spend all day doing. Or you have recipes that you can like spend a lot of time doing. And then you have recipes like this that are quick and simple, super, super flavorful, and make a big impact. One pot. And I don't know if you know this, but this is something I would consider to be like a picky eater's paradise, right? Because even a picky eater and their mother would appreciate being able to do this quickly, have one meal for the entire family, because sometimes your picky eaters literally will not eat if you don't make them something else. And it's not like chicken nuggets or a hot dog or one of the 5 things that they will eat. Now, in my child's defense, he is very allergic to anything having peanuts in it. So he gets very leery about trying new things unless he's in my kitchen. And this is something that even if he was leery about it, I think he would be like in the kitchen, mouth watering, ready to eat this. So like I said earlier, you have a crazy popular food blog. You are one of the most influential food bloggers I've ever seen, right? What made you, someone who liked to cook, decide, I love your t-shirt, by the way. I know I already told you that, but it needed to be on camera. What made you decide, as someone who liked to cook, that you wanted to start sharing recipes with people?
So it's not like an exciting story or anything, but I guess trying to think back, probably since like 2011, 2012, I used to read food blogs, like just kind of for fun. Like I enjoyed reading them. Like Table for Two is one of my favorites. She's actually a pretty good friend of mine now, which is kind of funny because I remember reading her blog like when I was, at my day job back in the day, and now we're friends. So it was almost like, I wouldn't say like starstruck, but it's kind of weird now that the bloggers that like I looked up to, that now I'm like friends with them and I've met some of them in real life and that sort of thing. So hers was one. Drizzle and Dip. She's a South African blogger. I loved her photography. I just like, for me, it was the photography that really drew me to food blogs. So, and I still like, I love looking at the photos. I try, like, for years I've tried to like master my photography, and I feel like people eat with their eyes first. So.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, part of your appeal is that your photography is so beautiful on your blog.
Thank you.
It is so beautiful. It's like aspirational.
So I try to make like aspirational but approachable. Like I don't, there are bloggers out there where, you look at their stuff and it's just so beautiful, and like I could never do like amazing tablescapes like some bloggers, they feels like I'd be setting it up all day, and like I don't have time for that. I don't know how to do it as well as they do. So I'm like, let's just make like what the dish actually looks like and make that as pretty as possible. So anyway, I loved looking at food photography. I think I still have like a secret Pinterest board where I post like all these photos that inspire me. And I started that way back when. And then basically I thought to myself, well, if others can do this, I can too. And I've always wanted to have my own company. Basically, since I was younger, I thought, well, like I'd rather work for myself, but I have no idea what to do. I decided, okay, what can I do? And I just kind of did a very sort of like a practical elimination. I had like a mini kind of midlife crisis when I turned 30. I was like, okay, I really, really don't want to be in like a job like this forever, even though it was a good job. I had a good boss, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. So I'm like, okay, maybe a food blog. I hear you can make a living on them. And actually, Pinch of Yum, they had those income reports. They don't do them anymore, but those, like, they inspired me so much. Like, I had no idea the earning potential of food blogs. And I was like, okay, well, if they can do this, I can at least make enough to, cover my costs. Then it was like, okay, I can make enough to maybe quit my day job. And then I think it was like four years into the blog. Yeah, 4 or 5 years where I quit my day job. That was back in 2019. So, just onwards and upwards since then.
I think Lindsay and Bjorn from Pinch of Yum are single-handedly responsible for probably thousands of food bloggers who feel like this is something that's accessible to me now.
I think so.
I think it's really easy to look at what food bloggers do and say, I can't, right? But they have created this incredible entire brand built around making it accessible for people. And I just really adore them for that. I really, really adore them for that. So I love that they have been like a great resource for you. All right. I feel like this sausage is ready.
Awesome.
So before I like start picking it out with my fingers and just eating it, what should I do next, Natasha?
Okay, so it's time to add the garlic.
All right. Garlic is in the pot.
That's a generous amount. I like that.
You said measure with your heart, so I definitely measured the garlic with my heart.
Excellent.
When I saw 4 cloves in your recipe, I was like,
like 4 large cloves.
Yes, exactly. All right,
so basically you're just adding it until it's like fragrant. So like all that means is like until you can smell it and it's like, oh, that smells good. You just want to cook out the raw flavor a little bit, kind of infuse it in there. So next, add in the wine.
Okay.
And just let that cook for like about a minute. And I can't really see if there's anything like stuck to your pot, but basically just if there's any little brown bits in there, just like scrape it up in there and like let it bubble for like a minute.
Happily. I will happily scrape brown bits. Brown bits of goodness have never let me down. Ever. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So we spoke yesterday and I went back and looked at the recipe again after we spoke and I was like, should I cheat and make this early? Because now that I've seen it, it's all that I want. I've been fixated on this recipe since we spoke, so I can't wait. All right, so our wine is mostly evaporated.
Okay.
This is smelling incredible.
Awesome.
Okay.
So next you will add in the diced tomatoes, cream, and the gnocchi.
At this, like right now.
Right now.
So easy. Diced tomatoes, cream, and my potato gnocchi. We have our gnocchi, our, let's see, our heavy cream, our tomatoes, like everything is in here except for basil, salt, and pepper. So what, oh, and my cheese. So what do I need to do now?
Okay, so are you still on medium high heat, or is it like what
I'm on more
temperature?
of a medium because I'm trying to
Yeah.
be conservative with my
Okay.
induction burner.
All right. So is it bubbling a little bit?
The tiniest bit, yes.
Okay, so I would cover it now.
All right. So that was our 5-minute timer. That 5 minutes flew by. So I'm gonna take this off. Ooh. And I'm gonna give it a stir. We're bubbling a little bit. Our gnocchi is free. It looks like it's well cooked. Oh my gosh. Nothing stuck to the bottom.
Excellent. So basically,
right.
this is where you can use a little bit of, I suppose, discretion. Like if, some people like thicker sauces, some like the sauces a little bit thinner. I'm more of a thicker sauce person. So if, you feel like it could do with a little thickening up, just cook it for a few more minutes. You could put the lid back on, or you could, cook it lid off. If you think you could crank up the heat a little bit, not a ton, we don't want to boil the heck out of it, but it looks like, I'm trying to look on there. It looks like it's thickening it up a bit, but it's not like super thick yet. So I would just cook it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I cranked my heat up just a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm going to just let it cook while we continue to chat.
Yeah, and just for the readers out there, if you're, or I guess viewers, not readers, blog readers, viewers. If you're cooking something, it's, with something like this especially, like erring on the side of lower heat rather than higher heat is better for, something like this. Because, if you cook it too hot, then like we mentioned earlier, it can get stuck to the bottom of the pan, or, you can start burning things. But, giving something a little more time, like a few more minutes, then you've got a little more control. So
Right. Sometimes, and I've said this before, time is an ingredient, right? So if you're rushed, and I've said it with respect to baking, but it's so true about cooking as well. If you're rushed and if you're like, oh, I only have 20 minutes, but I'm going to make this 40-minute meal, you are missing an essential ingredient of what you need to be successful with that recipe. And one of those things is time. Yeah. You just need time in order to be successful. So I'm so glad I had time to make this today, by the way. It just smells divine. Do you want me to add salt and pepper now, or should I just wait until the end?
So you can taste while you go along. Like if you wanted to take a little spoonful, you could. Since your sausage is cooked, you could do that. Yeah. I guess this is another kind of experience thing, right? Like I do salt as I go along. Usually in my recipes, I say, unless I give a specific salt quantity, I usually say just add it at the end, like taste and add it at the end. But tasting and adjusting is, a good technique. But of course, it depends on the recipe, right? Like, if you're cooking a steak, you can't like taste and adjust while you're going, right? Like,
I mean, you could once.
Like a roast. So it's best to do that, like if you can, like in this case. And don't forget the cheese will have a bit of salt in it. So
surprisingly, even without the cheese, and I've added no salt to this, the salt levels are really nice.
An Italian sausage especially is quite salty.
Yeah.
So this is a good one, if you're using the Italian sausage, to add the salt and pepper right at the end. But yeah, as you go works too.
So I'm going to call it. And I am somebody who have a very salty palate. I love salt.
Oh, me too. I named my blog after it.
You did. I don't think this needs salt. I don't think it needs additional salt. This is so delicious already. And I still have to I'll add a little bit of pepper. All right. And it's really, really beautifully thickened at this point.
Awesome.
The potato gnocchi has really thickened it up beautifully.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking good from my end. So I guess when you're ready, stir in the parm and then the basil. And yeah, if you need any more salt and pepper, I mean, you could give it another taste just to make sure after you add in the
Just to make
cheese and
sure.
basil.
Yes, because quality control,
Exactly.
super important. Don't want to serve something that's not up to par. All right, so here we go. Here's my parm. I'm using Parmigiano Reggiano today. And you said to measure the basil with my heart. So this is what my heart said.
Awesome.
And I'm giving it a stir. It looks so good.
Mhm.
I can't believe I put this together with the person who developed it. That's the thing. That's what makes me so happy. All right. And I assume I can turn off the heat at this point.
Yeah, you can turn off the heat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just a little note for our viewers. The basil, you can have it like you did it, or, if you prefer smaller pieces, you can like tear it into smaller pieces or chop it up. It just whatever you feel, you like. I like larger pieces. Like I just, kind of haphazardly like tear it up a little bit and just throw it
I
in
didn't
there.
do that. I was so greedy. I was like, I'm at the end. That's literally what I was thinking. I'm at the end. Like, let's get this basil in here. Yes.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, friends, don't be me. Tear up your basil before you put it in your pot.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
It does wilt. So, in my defense.
Oh, no, you didn't do anything wrong.
Quite small. But yes, friends, don't be me. Don't be like me. Oh,
you could do either. You could do either. And when I say a handful, it's like you could do a little handful or a generous handful, like whatever. It's a very flexible recipe.
Yes, it really, really is. And it's a recipe that's ready to taste. Even more important.
See, now I want to taste it. I don't have any here.
I'm so sorry. I hate doing this to you, but I must.
I'll just watch you eat it.
Okay. I'm so sorry that you're going to have to watch me eat this. Kind of sorry because I get to eat it. So, of course, I have to get a piece of basil. Let's get some sausage and a gnocchi. Oh, the sauce. Yum. All right, here we go. Finished product. I've been waiting for this since yesterday. Natasha, how did you come up with this recipe?
I
have to know.
Remember. So there, its predecessor, it's like a creamy, what is it? Spinach and mushroom gnocchi. That was one of like the first recipes ever on my blog to go like semi-viral. This was back, I think, in 2017. And then so I have like a ton of different variations. So I think it probably was just me thinking like, what other variations could we do? And I love Italian sausage recipes and have like a ton of them on my blog, like a tortellini soup, and there's a whole schwack of them. So I think that was probably just a natural like evolution with that.
Let's talk about evolution for a second, because if this is an evolution, like there's nothing you can't do with food. This was too easy. For being this simple, this was way too easy. Like, Natasha! I'm sorry. I just have to take like one more bite because
that's fine.
So delicious. Yeah, I'm going to eat that all the time.
Excellent. Sorry. I'm glad.
I'm sorry, but I'm not really. That is amazing. Like, now I want to try all of your other gnocchi recipes. And it continued to thicken just a bit once I turned off the heat, which is like amazing because it just looks it's taking everything in me right now not to make a huge bowl of this and just consume it while you're here. So because you made this beautiful gnocchi, I wanted to kind of stay on the Italian side with dessert today. And so what I've created is a classic affogato, which is currently something I am absolutely obsessed with. Now, affogato, for those of you who don't know, if you're in Italy, it's typically gelato, espresso, and some recipes use amaretto. I use amaretto in mine because I enjoy it. But you can also use a really, really rich ice cream with it. So what I've created is a vanilla bean, no churn ice cream that is so super simple. Guys, I have not purchased vanilla ice cream since I created this recipe. And it's so worth it. So I have a vanilla bean ice cream. I'm going to go grab it in just a second. Vanilla bean ice cream. I have my espresso starting to work on the countertop. I have my little Bialetti because I don't have a full-size espresso maker. I don't think I could be trusted with one, frankly. And then I have Di Solano, my amaretto. And so we're going to put it together and have a taste. Okay?
Yeah.
So my affogato starts with about a scoop and a half of ice cream. Like I said, I use my china, my little china that I got from when I got married. I just love it so much. I think it's just such a cute little vessel for affogato. So we've got about, like I said, 1.5 scoops of ice cream. It's really not that much. I have been tempted and actually have eaten multiple affogati on the same day. Highly not recommended because you will not sleep. Affogato is a dessert, which means it's meant to be eaten after lunch or after dinner. And if you do that and you eat 2 or 3 of them, you will not sleep because it is espresso. You can sub out the espresso for coffee. You can use decaf espresso. Fun fact about decaf, it's not 100% decaffeinated. So you still will be getting a little bit of caffeine if you do that. Yeah. So the 3 ingredients are my vanilla bean no churn ice cream. I use Di Serrano for my amaretto. And as I said, my espresso, which is currently cooking up in my little Bialetti, and it'll be ready in just a second. Okay. So at long last, my espresso completed. I love my little Bialetti. Oh my gosh. I have a tiny one, this one, and then I have a bigger one. When I first started making affogato, I was using the bigger one. Big mistake. So like I said, in my cup, I have 1.5 scoops, and I'm just going to pour a shot of espresso. I measure the shot with my heart. What can I say?
Yeah.
And then a shot of amaretto.
Very nice.
This is the thing that I have been just feasting on as far as dessert's concerned because it is so simple. It's a little messy, but the nice thing is, I don't know if you can see my affogato. It's a little messy.
It looks good though.
But the nice thing is the espresso kind of slowly melts the ice cream. So you get a bunch of good ice cream bites, ice cream, amaretto, and espresso. Or if you have the good stuff, gelato, amaretto, and espresso.
I can almost taste it. Almost.
It's sheer perfection. It's sheer perfection. And it's so easy. Like my mother was one who always after dinner wanted just a little something sweet, right? Just a little something sweet. And this has really kind of reset my factory settings because sometimes the things that I make, I'll admit it, they can be a little overblown, very difficult to do. Like there are just a lot of things, a lot of steps sometimes, a lot of techniques, a lot of ingredients. This is something that is so easy to execute that when I want that little something sweet in my little teacup, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Is that recipe
And
on your blog?
it will be.
It will
By
be.
the time this episode posts, this recipe will be on my blog. It'll actually be on my blog this week. And
Excellent.
this episode will post in the next like 3 to 4 weeks. So yeah. There will be a link to it in the description below the video, as well as the link to your amazing creamy gnocchi and sausage recipe. This meal today has made me incredibly, incredibly happy, Natasha.
I'm so glad.
Oh my goodness. Like, I can't wait to just sit down and devour it. I really hope I have a chance to cook with you again. This has just been so much fun for me. Thank you, Natasha, so much for coming on I'll Bring Dessert. It really means a lot to me.
You're welcome, and thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. Friends, I am very selfishly going to keep Natasha for just a few minutes, but this is the point where we bid you all adieu, and I hope to see you next time on I'll Bring Dessert.